It's a beautiful day in Los Angeles, California, and I'm here with Lilith Reese, which is one of my favorite females, very wise females that I've met in the last 3 years, I would say. She's a high initiate in the King Solomon lineage, that it's in part of the Modern Mystery School. And I'm just so curious to find out more about her path into this esoteric world, the spiritual world, and I'm just eager to learn more. Hi, Lilith.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
Yay!
Our lovely host, Elena. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you. So, what drew you to the esoteric world? What sparked the beginning stages of that?
Right. Good question. So I grew up in Christianity in the Bible Belt of the South, as people are familiar with. Many lovely people, but the perspective and philosophy and way of operating was not for me. I knew that I had magic from early on. I had healing abilities and so forth, but there was no one around me to explain what I was experiencing or why it was that I could, touch someone and they would feel better. And it was kind of just a shunned thing put to the side. And so I left Alabama when I was 19, flew to California, and I kept saying, if Harry Potter has a school, there has to be one for me too. I knew I needed training. I knew that the energy coming through me sometimes was being used for negativity and other times for positivity. And I knew that in order for me to get to where I wanted to be in life, I had to have a pattern of producing positivity and creating goodness with my energy, not the opposite. So I knew I needed to figure out how to harness it, and I knew I needed a school to do that. So I kept putting it out to the universe and saying it to random people, and eventually someone came into my field and they said, actually, I know of a mystery school and one of the priestesses live here in Los Angeles, and that was the lovely Dr. Teresa Bullard. She initiated me, and I was 22, and now I'm 33, and I'm immensely grateful, and I would not go back and undo my initiations, let's put it that way. I found what I was looking for, and I'm super, super delighted to be on this path and using these tools and working my magic through these mediums that consistently produce positivity. There's not a yin-yang to it. It's just like, it works.
That's so beautiful. It's always exciting to know more about initiate's path into this beautiful lineage. But would you be able to tell us more about what's the Modern Mystery School? I'm sure a lot of people are just like out there, okay, it's cool, spiritual school, but what exactly is it? What and how can we find it, I guess?
Yeah, well, you can go to modernmysteryschoolint.com. You can find it that way.
Easy.
But specifically, what I see the Modern Mystery School being is an ancient container that has been kept alive down through time, mostly underground for a majority of the time. If it were above ground, the books would have been burnt and it would have been destroyed. You look at Constantine's era and so forth, they would have wiped it out had they been able to access it. And they tried, right? But because of magic and such, we were able to cover and keep it hidden and underground to keep it alive until the humans were at the state of consciousness where they could actually receive this information and apply it into their lives. A lot of the concepts are defying what we perceive to be reality. But in order to expand beyond what has been defined for us as reality, we have to be willing to go outside of the box. And the Mystery School's way of thinking is based on hermetics and what is, not just based upon opinions and fads and council cultures and all that. No, let's go back to the root of what is, and from there, create reality. For me, the Mystery School is a place where people who are already self-initiated have already been doing their work to a large degree, and they're like, okay, I've tried this path, it produced some good things, but I kind of hit a plateau, and I tried this, it was good, tried that, nope, that was like way too new age or way too whatever. People are wanting actual sustained growth and sustained momentum. They oftentimes manifest coming into contact with a practitioner of the mystery school or the occult, because the teachings keep going. There's people after studying 20 years in it and are very successful, are still getting to go deeper and understand and reveal more of who they are and what their gifts are and what they have to share with the world. So it's a school that takes people who feel like they've hit the ceiling of life on earth and want to go further. It takes them into the quantum field, into the other dimensions, but while still being grounded in the physical and sharing that energy with us.
Actually, the next question was, who would be a good fit for the schools? I guess you kind of answered that in a way. Do you have any other ideas of what other people might fit in this?
So there's two ways to see it. You could see the mystery school or the modern mystery school specifically as a hospital where people who are not able to, get the physical healing, the mental healing, the spiritual healing, doctors prescribe this, you're dealing with depression, you need that, and they're tired of putting band-aids on it. So they find a practitioner of the school, they go in, they get the King Solomon healing modalities and more, and they get cleaned up and they get healed and they got what they needed from the school, and they go out and they live their life anew. Other people are meant to actually allow for their physical bodies to anchor this lineage and light on the planet. So it's for those people, like I mentioned previously, who are already self-initiated and know they're here as a light worker, someone who, can hold this path and frequency on a day-to-day basis and are inspired to. And then it's also for people who are needing healing, and sometimes those two are in the same human, as it was for me. And other times it's like they come through, they get what they need, and they go out, and then others stay around and keep the lineage alive for the next generation. Yeah.
Beautiful. What do you think it would be the first step that can somebody take towards healing and
Towards healing,
mm-hmm. And then also related to the modern school. In the modern school, what's the first step they can take to be a part of the school?
Well, go to modernmysteryschoolint.com and
Right.
look under certified practitioners and find a guide or a healer in your area. The energy that comes through the life activation plugs you into the lineage. The lineage is very vast and it goes very, very deep. And if you're stepping into something, you're not usually going to step in and just go, whoom, flood your energy with something, right? You're going to start in small increments. What it actually brings in is an immense amount of light that continues to integrate over a period of weeks and sets a flow in motion that allows for the human to start experiencing the shifts that they need to experience and that their soul has been calling for. So, someone could come in, they're dealing with anxiety, or, they don't seem to be able to defeat, being addicted to alcohol or smoking or whatever it is that they feel they're ready to let go of in their reality to move on and make space for something more grander. I also see it as a ceremony that welcomes someone's god, goddess selves into their physical. In and of itself, it's like an initiation, because once you receive the life activation, something wakes up in a person, and it's no longer just about living for the mundane or the physical, but these higher desires to contribute to something much bigger start to come in, and you start to find your place within that, and or start the journey. In order to realize your purpose on the planet, oftentimes there's going to be a process of cleaning out, and it can feel like, okay, I'm here, I'm showing up, I'm being a healthy person, but why is it that it's not? The answers are there, where it's like, okay, there's a lot of programming and healing that had to be done before that amount of clarity can actually come in and you can embody and work with it. So it starts a healing and a clearing out process, so that then that higher understanding of oneself can start to integrate in the physical. Life activation, that's my answer.
Life activation. What are some changes or big changes that you think that the life activation made for you?
Good question. I actually received the life activation after I was initiated, which is not typically how things go. So it could be challenging for me to say which was, the energy was coming from the life activation or from the initiation. So yeah, I can't really answer that question. But typically, if someone receives the life activation first, which is our protocol, it would be obvious what the shifts are from there as opposed to initiation. But because they happened so close together, when I received my initiation, there were rituals and such that came along with it that I saw massive growth from. Having a spiritual practice where I was able to call in energy from the higher realms into my physical life started shifting things very rapidly. The main thing I noticed from that chapter was in January of 2012, receiving my life activation and getting initiated. I was young here in Los Angeles, and I felt immense amount of protection come into my field, and I could start feeling what was me and what was someone else, and being able to differentiate that, because up until that point I felt everyone's energy, or at least I was perceiving a lot. My senses were kind of overwhelmed, and after the life activation and initiation, I could tell, okay, this is where I am, and this is someone else's stuff, so I don't need to respond to that or react to it. I can just stay in my power. And and then I had the tools. If I started feeling heavy energetically, I could clear the energy with a prayer in Latin, and it would clear whatever I needed. I started all of a sudden had the tools to address what needed to be addressed, so that I could come from a more centered, balanced place, and then make positive choices from that place.
So why would somebody get a life activation?
If they feel like they've hit a plateau and they've been trying to heal things and fix things within their psyche, within their consciousness, within their bodies, that they haven't been able to work past, the life activation to me is like a magic pill. It's like, okay, I've tried everything. Okay, fine, I'll try it. I need to progress. And when people get to that point zero, that's usually when they're open and ready to actually make that leap into a higher parallel reality or version of themselves, where they are already existing but without those elements or unhealthy patterns or what have you. So the life activation helps catapult someone into a higher version of themselves, where they're not laden with those denser experiences or feelings.
I was actually looking for the exact answer that you just gave me. What do you think has been the most life-changing thing after getting initiated and life activated?
One, going to Healers Academy to learn how to bring the life activation to other people. It is that through serving other people, we find joy and purpose and meaning in life. So that gave me a consistent, grounded tool where I could show up and serve another person, receive energy exchange for it. So that became like a main job for me when I was 23 years old. And the outcome of it was producing healing and positivity in other people's lives, and healing that didn't just stop but continue to work with them. So it felt really good to be able to contribute to someone else's life in that way. And then in the process of serving another by giving them the life activation, I was flowing that light through my body. So there's a lot of healing that came to me as I held space for other people to heal as well. From that, though, stepping onto the warrior path in the mystery school, there's the path of the healer and the path of the warrior. This is a King Solomon lineage, and he cross-trained his students or his Templars as healers and warriors, because both are needed, right? It's like, when is it appropriate to exert which energy? Sometimes compassion and empathy is needed, and other times we need to bring through precision and cut away that which no longer serves, and that takes a warrior spirit to hold that level of integrity for ourselves and the people around us, but always with, compassion, precision, but clarity. So stepping onto the path of the warrior was really, really big for me, and learning where my boundaries were and how to see through things. A human can be saying something, but is that really coming from them authentically, or are they just saying what they're programmed to say, and being able to differentiate that. So to be able to put better boundaries in my life which allowed me then to create a healthier life and healthier relationships. But also there's deeper tools within the Ritual Master path that served me immensely. And so it's like breaking those patterns. Oftentimes when someone is, let's just say an alcoholic in an unhealthy way, right, and their father was, or their mother was, and their grandparent and their great grandparent, and it's like this thing that keeps getting passed on generation after generation. It's not just happening by coincidence. It's not just because they saw someone else doing it so they started doing it. A majority of the time it's energy operating in a multidimensional way, kind of plaguing that family. But that stuff, they don't have to live with that. We can actually break those chains so that we don't carry it on. We help free our deceased family members, like kind of clear that from their karmic field or their soul's journey, as well as we do not have to pass it on to the future generations. So the Mystery School provides some pretty deep healings and abilities to clear this stuff up, take care of things that Western medical doctors and so forth don't know how to take care of. Let's put it that way.
That's so beautiful. Well, coming to an end here, and understanding that everything that we might experience might possibly come from an energetic level. Is there any other advices or wisdom that you want to share with somebody that's watching? Is there any other advices or wisdom that you want to share with somebody that's watching?
Yeah. Have the awareness that, and or play with the concept, and just be open to the idea. Like, it may quite possibly be that your mind creates your reality. And if that's the case, what are you thinking about? What are you focusing on? Where are areas in life that you can pull yourself out of and not get so tangled up in, but rather take a step back, recenter, refocus, see what the goal is, and just stay focused on the goal. Because our energy, as it's getting thrown about, it's draining us. Our energy innately is light. We come from source. We're gods and goddesses in the physical. But then we have all these other influences around us that are wanting to come in and distract us and pull us out of our center. So the more we can stay in our center and maintain our own power, the more fulfilling our lives are going to be, and the more fulfilling our relationships are going to be. And it all starts with us. So we could say, you destroyed my life, or you did this, or I should have been raised better, or what have you. But ultimately we chose to incarnate into the family and the bloodline and such that we did. So what we can't change is what has been done. What we can change is how we show up in the now and how we choose to show up in the future. And also what we can control is who we allow to be with us on a daily basis, who we allow ourselves to interact with. Are those people we're choosing to have conversations with and interact with, are they making us or contributing to us being stronger and clearer, or are they some way draining our energy? Think about the people around you. Are they good investments of your God-Goddess energy? And if not, if they're not taking who you are and receiving your reflection and producing positivity in their lives, then maybe that's not the best investment of your time and energy, and you can, with grace and gratitude, let those people slip away and make space for clearer, healthier, more balanced, alive, motivated humans to step into your reality. And they say, birds with similar feathers flock together, so the people who are around us, we're growing off of those reflections, and they're growing off of ours too. So you might find that you need to take a time of solitude, let the people around you kind of slip away, and the ones that are on a higher frequency will come back around, and then new ones will come back around as well. So that's how we continue to grow. We can't have attachments to people or things here in the physical. Appreciate it while it's there, learn the lessons that are to be learned, but once it starts to cause havoc, for the most part, I think it's wise to let that stuff go. And it's not, though, about letting stuff go and people go and then having to relearn lessons over and over again. It's like, get the message, hang up the phone, and let yourself evolve and let other people evolve too. So, things are not black and white. Most things are gray. So sometimes it's appropriate to let things go. Other times there's still a lesson to be learned, and it's up to, knowing ourselves and having discernment to know which one is at hand in a present moment. So to better understand all of this, if you don't, go get a life activation. Go to modernmysteryschoolint.com. Find a guide in your area, a practitioner in your area, get a life activation and see what starts to shift for you, and start to experience deeper awareness and clarity of who you are in this lifetime and what you have to bring to the table. And as we're all in our individual power, that's from that place can we actually make the world a better place. We want world peace. It starts within, right? Yep.
Yeah, we could spend the whole day here talking about healings and the life activation, but the best way that you could learn about it is by experiencing it yourself.
Yep. It's very experiential, for sure. I have an airplane to catch.
Thank you. See you soon.
Pleasure.